All right, everyone. Well, here we are, Thursday morning, making our way towards the end of the week. And today was a slow day. It was a terrible day. I sat down, 6:45, looked at the scans, and I saw nothing I liked. It was a bunch of lower priced stocks below $2 a share. And what I know from my metrics is that I don't make good money on those stocks. $2 is kind of the cutoff. Now, it's not to say that you won't sometimes see me trading these lower priced stocks, because sometimes I will if they've got really great catalyst, if the float is particularly low, if they're on the front side of the move. But it just so happened that all of the stocks that I was looking at, most of them had started their move after hours yesterday. So they had begun their move back then. And, at this point I felt like, I'm kind of trading a continuation setup, but a lot of them were below yesterday's high. So I just didn't love it. And I looked at them and I just said to myself, the only way you'd make money on this is if you buy 15, 20,000 shares. But you're going to get a couple cents of slippage on the entry. You'll get a couple cents of slippage on the exit. And if it only goes up 10 cents minus the slippage, you're really not making that much money. And don't forget about fees and commissions. So I was able to talk myself out of it. And that meant 7 a.m., no trades. 7:30, no trades. 8, no trades. 8:30, no trades. 9 a.m., no trades. 9:30, no trades. All right, so where do I sit today? Well, it's currently 10:15, and I took one trade today. Now, my gut was telling me just to walk away. That was my gut, and I was debating what I should do here. A challenge that I have is that if I sit here and I see something moving, I'm going to trade it. I just know that about myself. So I almost have to pretend the market has closed when I get up and walk away. But today I said, well, let's see what happens at the opening bell. It's only 9:30, so let's see what happens. And at 9:30, we had nothing. But at 9:45, we had a stock that put out breaking news and squeezed up about 15%. I jumped on that. I made $605.50. Not a bad trade. And that was my only trade of the day. So that's my P&L here for today, $600. But you know what? That's $600 more than I had a couple hours ago. I could have done without it. It wouldn't have been a big deal if I hadn't taken that trade at all. And it would have, in some ways, been a better exercise in discipline for me not to take that trade, just because of the fact that, it was a risky move to take my first trade at 9:45. I see WHLR just hit the scanner right here. Again, risky move to consider trading this. This one's riskier though, because the thing with WHLR that I'll show you is, let's look at the level 2 and the spreads. So right now, 10-cent spread, 12-cent spread. The spreads are going to jump around. And it doesn't have a lot of volume. So one big order goes through for 5,000, 10,000 shares. It could drop. The algo could drop it probably 30 cents on an order like that. It's not that the order is going to really sweep the book. It's that when the algo sees that order coming in, they're going to pull the bids or pull the offers. So you're going to get this erratic whippiness. And, look, it's awesome when you get that break of 14 up to 14.50, micro pullback up to 15. Love seeing that. But realistically, see, there you go. That's what I'm talking about, right? That's the problem. And so that is that educated intuition. So even though I didn't know that that was going to happen, I knew that there was the risk of that happening. That right there highlights, in my opinion, why it's so valuable to be part of a community like at Warrior Trading, but you could choose another if you prefer, where you've got someone like me who's sharing their intuition and their market commentary in real time, so you can actually hear it and realize, okay, this is just another point of view. I got to factor that in, but this is someone who's been doing this for a really long time. So, and I had already said, guys, I'm done. I'm not going to take any more trades today because the time of the day is just getting too risky. So, but if this had occurred, at 8:15 or 9:15, and as it did pop up at those times, I was saying the same thing. It wasn't safe. It wasn't trustworthy. So, my kind of rule of thumb has been to size down at the open. I did not exceed 5,000 shares today. I didn't cross $1,000 of profit. That first trade, that only trade that I took on DTSS, it made sense for a couple of reasons. Number one, the stock had news that came out at 9:45. And to be honest, that headline seemed awesome. up 230% year over year, right? Estimated first quarter 2025 financial year revenue, 22.7 million. I mean, it's a juicy sounding headline. DTSS is a stock that's a former Momo stock. It's had a history of making big moves. So we've got this candle back here, and this is just recently, but we've got this candle back here, this one here, this one here. So I was kind of thinking if this can get over 280 and over 3, 360, over 360, we've got room up to 4. It's a 1.79 million share float. It kind of pretty well meets the criteria for the right type of stock. It's got a catalyst. So it pops up, and as soon as it pops up, I saw it right here. So it popped up right here first, up to 65. And I said, well, give it a second. Let's see what it can do. It drops down, and as it curls back up, I punched the buy button at 258. It was 258 on the ask. Here's the thing that's annoying. I got filled at 265. So I got filled with 6 cents of slippage on 5,000 shares. Well, I did 2 orders of 2,500 shares. So the first order of 2,500 shares filled at 64 and the second filled at 67, which is really a kind of unacceptable level of slippage, if I'm going to be honest. Nonetheless, I was in. It goes up to 75. It goes up to 80. At 80, there was a seller. It's like 10,000 shares. So I said, all right. So I took my profit at 77. And then it dips back down. Now I'm watching it add back if it can break over 80. It doesn't break over 80, so I don't add back. And that was it. That was the only trade. So you've got breaking news. It's a micro pullback, a little sloppy, not the cleanest pattern, but the right type of stock, the right price range, former Momo stock, it all kind of lined up. I suppose on this one, the biggest risk is that if I had taken that trade, gotten in at 65 or whatever, and it flushes to 45, I would have lost $1,000. $1,000 loss. I was up $10,000 yesterday, so $10,000 or $1,000 loss today certainly wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But to take $1,000 loss, what would I have said to myself? I probably would have said, Ross, why did you take your first trade at 9:45? You should have just had it a no trade day. There was nothing that looked good pre-market. You didn't have any cushion whatsoever. So I might have had a little bit of regret. But I would have at least been grateful that I only took 5,000 shares. If I had bought that with 15,000 shares and lost $4,500, now that would be a different story. I would be very upset with myself for breaking a rule based on share size. My window closes, I've kind of said like from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., right? That's kind of my window right now. On a day when the market's hot and I have a cushion, pushing it to 11 can work, but my window was coming to a close. So I took this trade sort of right at the end of my window on a day when I really didn't have a cushion. So although it worked, it was a little risky. So glad I managed the risk with smaller share size, got out quickly when it didn't break through 280. And, and that was it. So now it's sitting at 250. It's down a little bit from my entry, but not by a lot. So that was DTSS. If it didn't have news, there's no way I would have taken it. The only reason I took it was because it had the fresh news. That was what basically pushed me over the edge. I was like, oh, we've got something with breaking news at 9:45. This is rare, but I'll take it. A news trade. So at this point, your next likely chance for news, while you may get some news midday, the next most likely chance would be after hours, but I'm not going to stick around for that. So BLMZ was our leading gainer today, and you can see this one, the move started after hours yesterday. So grinding higher, but I knew with this type of stock, it's going to trade very thickly. There's a lot of people who are going to be buying and selling big positions, 50, 75,000, 100,000 shares. So they're going to be sitting on the ask. They're going to start competing to make pennies a share. A penny on 100,000 shares is $1,000. So all of a sudden you have people trying to move in and out for 3 cents for $3,000 and So it's becoming very thickly traded, congested, choppy, not going to be easy. WHLR, issue with the spread, issue with the fact that it did not have a catalyst. No catalyst on WHLR. Daily chart, it's got a history of, popping and dropping, but unless it can get over 20, the high of this kind of pivot, I want to see it stair-stepping up, right? It's kind of, up and then sort of down, right? And now sort of So what are we going to do? We're going to stair step up, or is that just a little push before another leg lower? Not sure. So no catalyst to support the move. So no trades on that one. If it had a better daily chart, I might have considered taking some trades, but at this price range, it's just tricky. SOBR, daily setup potentially, first daily candle to make a new high after that big pop on Monday, but it's not happening. YYAI, this one was on the scans earlier, popped up, was watching it to see if it would curl. It didn't, it sold off. CRKN, cheaper stock, right? This one started the move after hours as well. SRFM, this one kind of just pulling away a little bit, but interesting on this SRFM, easy to borrow. Floats basically 9 million shares, but it's an easy to borrow stock. So easy to borrow, those can be choppier. Left that one alone. AMLI, floats too big. CNEY, too cheap. So look at the scan. The top 5, 6, 7 stocks. The only one that fits within the price range would be SRFM for, and maybe this one. But this one, the float's too high. Oh, well, it's not too high. 13 million is not bad. But I didn't even see it. It's only up 19%. So it's more opening up as the day's been going on. But Robin Gourmet Burgers, that's not a sector that usually does well. It's not biotech. It's not technology stock, pharmaceutical. So anyways, SRFM, that one's easy to borrow, 9 million share float. WHLR, didn't have a catalyst. Price is a little higher, but it's got range. So, there's potential, but especially with that low float, but it's just not happening. So yeah, today was a little bit of a dud, but some days are going to be like that. And I'm grateful that I had, such a solid day yesterday because, that now can tide me over for a couple of days. Now, of course, it'd be better if I'd also had a good day on Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday were not great. But anyways, it doesn't matter. It's water under the bridge. Right now, just trying to push forward, keep my head down, stay disciplined, and focus on trading stocks that are squeezing up, right now with hopefully some type of catalyst. Had that on DTSS. Everything else was too cheap. Tomorrow, Friday, coming to the end of the week, the market is open on Monday, Columbus Day. I wasn't sure if it was, but the market will be open. Bond markets are closed, but the stock market is open on Monday this year. So we don't have a long weekend. We'll just have a regular 2-day weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and then be back at it on Monday, which is, nice because I want to kind of try to put a nice dent into my October profit target, and missing days is not going to help with that. So I'm going to try to keep my head down, stay focused on locking up these base hits. $600 today. All right. It's nothing to write home about, whatever, but it's better than a red day, and I suppose better than a no trade day, but it might as well have been a no trade day because it's really nothing significant. So anyway, so that's where I'm at here for today, and I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning. For those of you guys that haven't already done a 2-week trial at Warrior Trading, I'll put the link down in the description. During your 2-week trial, you can be listening over my shoulder while I'm giving you that market commentary, so you can get a sense of what a seasoned trader is thinking about this action. Today for me, for the most part, was a no trade day, hands off, was very light on risk, took it very slow, locked up one winner, but not overstay my welcome. So that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. If you do, I hope you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will be back at it live streaming for traders at Warrior Trading tomorrow morning. Okay, see you guys then. Reminder as always, trading's risky. My results aren't typical, so manage your risk, take it slow, and I'll see you guys in the morning.